All right, the meeting will come to order. Do we have anyone here who would like to make any citizens' comments? You'll need to fill out a card if you do want to. Okay. Ms. Gore, can you call the roll?
Mr. Benjamin?
Present.
Ms. Conley?
Present.
Ms. Williams?
Present.
Mr. Lamar?
Present.
Dr. Dion?
Present.
Let's see, Tyler, will you lead us in the pledge to the flag, and we'll remain standing for a moment of silence.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Do we have any citizens' comments? All right, we'll move on. Is there a motion to approve the May 18th, 2021 agenda? So moved. Second.
All right, it's been moved by Mr. Lamar and seconded by Mr. Benjamin. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The ayes have it, the motion's carried. Reports. I do have a report tonight, and I'm happy to share this with our school board. As you know, we have finished and completed our evaluation of our superintendent, Mr. Jeff Mayo. And I just want to make sure that everyone understands that this evaluation, how it was scored. The board members scored each question appearing on the evaluation. The score was either a 3 for distinguished, 2 for proficient, and 1 for needs improvement. So there were a total score of 2.5 to 3.0 was distinguished, a total score of 1.5 to 2.4 was proficient, and a total score of 0 to 1.4 needs improvement. It is my pleasure to announce that Mr. Mayo's overall average and score was 2.975, about as close to perfect as we could get. So he was granted distinguished because it certainly fell between the 2.5 to 3.0. So Mr. Mayo, I want to say congratulations to you on that score. That is a really good score. So we're proud of you. Let me go ahead and read some of the comments made by the board, if I can. Mr. Mayo demonstrates outstanding communication skills. The school board, parents, teachers, staff, and community are kept well informed about all aspects of the school district. Mr. Mayo has greatly improved staff morale in our schools and district office. Another comment, a job well done in a difficult year. Third comment, great Monday motivations. Mr. Mayo is known as the great communicator. Mr. Mayo uses Facebook to recognize teachers and staff members. The third comments, Mr. Mayo is an outstanding communicator on all levels, verbal, planned speeches, and off the cuff, listening and written information. I have watched Mr. Mayo during this year as he performed his duties responding and interacting with the Board of Education, principals, staff, teachers, students, and families. He is well informed and gives thought to what he has to say before he engages in conversation or in written communication. He also sends out Monday motivational writings to all. They give you food for thought. Mr. Mayo also keeps the Board of Education informed in necessary day-to-day communications. He stays on top of the budget, especially during this very difficult year of COVID, when we are receiving more than usual local, state, and federal monies that have been allocated for specific uses. The next comments, what a year. Throughout these unprecedented times, Mr. Mayo wielded a maturity that far surpassed my expectations from a first-year leader. Your calm demeanor and encouraging leadership has been instrumental in the ongoing success of our pandemic-saturated school year. Kudos to you for your tackling and thriving in these times. So I am happy that I get to share this information, board members, with you. You will receive a copy of all these totals of this evaluation, and I will make sure you get this before our board policy says June the 30th, so I promise you I'll get it to you right away. So I'm really happy to report to you that Mr. Mayo has really performed beyond. So we are certainly proud of him. So congratulations. Well, that was good. I like that. That was fun. Superintendent's report.
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to, again, I started the school year with emphasizing the importance of what our employees have done to stand up the school district, for lack of better words. This year was almost like starting the school district all over again and trying to open schools this year. And, you know, our employees have, you know, some of them were scared, some of them were nervous, but they, you know, they stayed the course and did what they needed to do to be there for our students. And I think that message, you know, seeped out to the parents, it seeped out to the community, and I can't thank our employees enough for what they've done this year. And it's been a difficult year, one I hope we never have to look at again, but if we do, we know we can do it because our employees proved that this year. And I don't wish that on them again, don't get me wrong, but I know they can do it if we're ever forced to do that again. So I can't say enough about what our employees have done this year. As far as the evaluation is concerned, I appreciate that. I appreciate your comments, your acknowledgement of the work that's been done this year. I kind of feel like my wife and my daughter's names should be on there too, because they've made a lot of sacrifices this year for me to do this. My executive staff has been phenomenal.
Yes, they have.
I didn't expect to get emotional about my evaluation, but when I talk about the people that helped me get through this year, that's when I get emotional.
I understand, really do.
I'll get myself together here in a minute, I promise.
Take your time.
We can applaud all of y'all too.
That's applause for our staff, the central office staff. What an unbelievable group. Oh, my goodness. I have no idea how you did it, but you did it. I don't know. Amazing.
Okay, I'm sorry, y'all.
It's okay.
That's all right.
So next year, I want to tell you that's coming. We are at the point of getting ready to release our information for next year, and you will get a preview of that hopefully by tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll have to have that finished. I'm almost finished with it now, but I'll probably send that out to you tomorrow, and then we'll be sending that out to families probably on Friday and letting them know what they're going to be, what they can expect for next school year, what the plan's going to be for next school year. I've discussed some of the pieces of that with you along the way, of some of the plans that we're looking forward for next year, but I will send that to you privately before we actually send that out to employees and to parents at the end of the week. Employees will also get that information prior to us sending that out. We want to make sure everybody's clear on that. Class of 2021 last night, a big deal. We got those students graduated in person. That was huge for our district. A lot of work went into that. I can't tell you the number of meetings and the back and forth that had to happen between the high school and Bellevue Baptist Church, whether we're going to do it outside, whether we're going to do it at all, whether we're going to do it video, whether we're going to do it in person. All of that went back and forth, spinning around. So to see that come together last night was a huge deal, huge accomplishment. So I'm very proud of that. And congratulations to all the students. We know that what they've been through this year, regardless of what they do, wherever they go to college or, straight to the workforce, to the military, wherever they're going, what they've been through this year has built character in them that they will take with them for the rest of their lives. That class also, you heard last night, earned over $35.7 million in scholarships, so that's quite an accomplishment as well. I do want to read to you, some of you were at the chamber meeting last Wednesday when Ms. Kelly, our student council sponsor at the high school, she made an announcement that Arlington High School will be hosting the Southern Association of Student Councils annual convention. It's called Instruments of Leadership, and it's going to be October the 22nd through the 24th. We were actually not supposed to host this until next year, but the school that was supposed to host it this year said they couldn't host it because of everything that's going on, so they called and said, hey, can y'all do it a year earlier? Ms. Kelly came and asked us, could we do it? And we said, sure, go for it. Councils from about 15 different states will be here. They'll be coming to the community, and they're looking for sponsors. They're looking for obviously any kind of support. If you know of anybody or any sponsorships that this group could have, that would be greatly appreciated. Ms. Kelly's contact person for that. She has invited each of you to come and hang out with the kids when that happens in October. So hopefully you will have an opportunity to drop in on them, and you'll see more information about this forthcoming. But it was really important that she got that before chamber members and business owners, because hopefully we'll have some people to step up and help us out with that. I noticed that Miss Tanya Howell did have that on the chamber website in her announcement the other day. So that has made it there thus far. I do want to say congratulations to our retirees. We have not a lot, but we have a few. I think we have some from every school, maybe except Arlington Elementary. And we will be recognizing those retirees at a whatever the principal has planned for them. They've invited us to come because we want to give them a token of appreciation for their service to the district. Mm-hmm. And so that'll be happening in the next couple of days at each of those schools. You heard Mr. Hudson is going to be retiring, and we'll be having to train somebody up new to run these meetings or video these meetings for us. So we appreciate his service. I think he said he has one more meeting with us. So he's going to be in the process of helping get people trained for that. So we do want to acknowledge those retirees and their service to the district. I want to recognize some new employees that are going to be joining our district office in the next school year. Actually in June, we're going to start bringing them on, and then they'll be joining us permanently after that. I sent you information about Miss Kimberly Douglas, who is going to be the new secondary academic supervisor over grades 7 through 12 at the high school. She'll be assisting those teachers and administrators working out of our central office. And Miss Douglas is actually here tonight. I asked her to come. Sorry I acted like a baby on your first night.
I think it means that he just cares about his employees.
Miss Douglas is coming to us, as I shared with you, from Germantown High School, and is currently the vice principal at that school. She's been an assistant principal, a PLC coach, teacher. You saw all the stuff on her resume when that came out. So we're excited to have her and what she's going to be bringing to the district in her new position. Miss Barbara Arnett was not able to attend tonight. We did invite her, but she doesn't get off work until after 5 o'clock from Shelby County Schools, so she couldn't make that drive out here at that time. But you'll get a chance to meet her. She'll be starting also in June, and she'll be our new grant specialist who will be managing a lot of the ESSER, the big ESSER funds that are coming, the big ESSER paper trail and the audit and all of that that's coming, surely to come. So we know that's coming. And that concludes my report, other than I may have some departmental reports. Dr. Clark, do you have a report tonight?
Good evening. Just coming from Mr. Mayo's mentioning about retirement, we will be honoring our retirees based on the what the principal has planned to honor those retirees. Just so you will know, in case if you want to be present at that time, on Thursday, Donaldson Elementary School is scheduled at 3:20. On Thursday, Arlington Middle School is at 4 o'clock. So you can just go from Donaldson to Arlington if you'd like, Arlington Middle. And then on Friday, Arlington High School is 10 o'clock in the Rotunda. And as Mr. Mayo mentioned, Arlington Elementary School does not have any retirees. Currently, our enrollment rate of students we have registered to come this upcoming school year, 21-22, we're at 96% of our projection. So we are on target. Our current vacancies at the school level, Arlington Middle School has 3 positions, but I've been working closely with Ms. Banks. Those are from 2 additional positions based on enrollment and 1 retirement, and she'll be filling those within the next few days. Arlington High School, an offer is made today, and then we're interviewing for 2 more positions, 2 due to retirement and 1 moving out of education. Classified positions there at Arlington High School, we have 2 there. Those are created, 1 retirement, 1 applicant is probably going to be moving from that to a teaching position. We have a speech therapist that is retiring, and she served the AMS-AHS speech therapy, and so we have that vacancy there. Our instructional technology facilitator, as you know, we're adding a full-time position, 1 at each elementary school, so that was a new position, as well as a position open at Arlington High School, because that instructional tech facilitator moved into the EPSO specialist position. That was an additional creation there. So we completed our interviews today for both those positions, so we will be making those offers. I'll be making them, I would say, within the next 2 days. Nutrition, just to make you aware of that, with the nutrition, as you know, the USDA has approved breakfast and lunches free again next school year. So we have allocated at this time 2 full-time and 2 part-time in addition to what they have. And then at AMS, AES, and DES, 1 addition full-time and 1 addition part-time. So we've allocated that, and we'll be monitoring that to determine that need. So it's there if we have that need to support with the free lunch, breakfast and lunches. The cafeteria monitors, those are those 3-hour positions, and they have been a little bit of a challenge to fill with that 3-hour block in the middle of the day. And we have positions at Arlington High School and the elementary schools. Arlington Middle has filled theirs this school year and will remain to what our understanding is at the time. So I spoke to Ms. Cardosi with our transportation, with Durham Transportation, and so I will be meeting with bus drivers Thursday afternoon and providing them information and offering them the opportunity to apply for a position. And she felt like several of them might be interested in that because they can fill that gap in the middle of their day, because not all of them live in the Arlington community, so that would help them fill that gap, make a little money, be with us in the middle of the day. And then we have a classified position. They're at Arlington High School, but it is pulled through central office in student services under Ms. Douglas, the alternative school assistant. And that completes what I have to share. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Clark. Mr. Goforth. Okay. Miss Rochelle Douglas.
No report.
We're gonna have two Miss Douglases from now. Mr. Ruff is absent today. Ms. Speakman?
No report this evening,
All right.
although I plan to monopolize the entire June meeting with policies.
Okay. Just a heads up. Mr. Hill, Communications.
No report.
And that concludes the superintendent's report.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayo. I think it just proves our point from the evaluation that Mr. Mayo has really done a great job this year, and he certainly cares about his people. So we appreciate all that he's done this year, for sure. All right, financial report, Ms. Roberts.
Good evening. The financial report as of March 2021 for the general fund, revenues of $38.3 million, expenditures of $30.4 million. Nutrition fund, revenues $710,903, expenditures $739,985. Federal and discretionary grants, revenues $2,619,580. Expenditures $2,608,400. CIP fund, revenue $408,242. Expenditures $2,181,533. For the Interlocal Health Benefits Plan Asset Trust Report as of March 2021, year-to-date revenues $35.1 million, year-to-date expenses $27.7 million, beginning balance $4 million, ending balance $11.4 million. That concludes the financial reports.
Thank you, Ms. Roberts. TLN report, the legislature has shut down, thank the Lord. But anyway, that is my report. Is there a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All right, it's been moved by Mr. Benjamin, seconded by Ms. Conley. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. The ayes have it and the motion's carried. All right, Superintendent Mayo, would you lead us through our budget items and our recommended action items?
Okay, the first item is 8A, Resolution 2021-08, the Arlington Community Schools Board of Education amending the 2020-2021 schools budget. These are our regular monthly budget changes that we make for benefits, salaries, professional development, instructional materials, those things that you're used to seeing on a monthly basis from our current budget. So with that, it's my recommendation that the board pass, approve Resolution 2021-08.
Motion to approve.
It's been moved by Dr. Vias, second. Second by Ms. Conley. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The ayes have it and the motion's carried. Next item.
Okay, the next item is our cleaning contract that's up for award, and my recommendation is going to be to award the janitorial services to SKB Facilities and Maintenance in the amount of $77,236.85 per month, and then grant the superintendent the authority to negotiate the terms of the related contract. But I've got more discussion or information to share on that if that motion, that item gets on the floor.
Yes, sir. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
All right, it's been moved by Ms. Conley, seconded by Dr. Vias. Is there any discussion? You want to go ahead and do your...
Okay. I wanted to let the board know that in a response to the bid that we put out for contracting our cleaning services for next year, we had five companies to respond to that process: Fresh Start, Parku, HES, SKB, and ABM. Mr. Ruff and Ms. Amy McDaniel, our accountant, conducted a review of those applications because there were certain things that we asked for in the bid that had to be submitted in order for the bid to be considered. So they evaluated those based on a rubric, and the results that came back was for SKB was the winning bid. I do want to tell you some of the areas that we looked at to make that determination. There were basically 6 areas. The first one was qualifications and experience out of a possible 40 points. Quality assurance, customer service, a possible 40 points. Project plan, including staff and wages, possible 50 points. Cost was a possible 40 points. Financial stability, possible 10 points. References was a possible 20 points. So SKB scored a total of 201 points. The next closest person or company to them was, let's see, I think HES was second, and then Parkoo was third. I think the important thing to point out here, though, is in our bid process, we, as I mentioned earlier, we had certain criteria that we asked for those bidders to provide, and really, SKB was the only company that met those requirements without fault. All the other companies had left something out. One of the things that we looked at that's very important, that I think is a good thing that we've learned from COVID this year, is making sure that a company that we do business with has financial stability. So that was a big part of this decision in recommending SKB. Aside from the fact that we've been very pleased with SKB services, they've stood up our district this year in a very difficult time. When there's been issues, they have risen to that challenge, provided extra resources. They've done what they needed to do. We can call and get someone out here quickly if there's a problem. That's very important as we're trying to resolve issues and provide the cleanest possible facilities for our employees and students. So that's just a little bit of the background information. So technically, SKB probably really won by default, but we went ahead and evaluated all of the bidders anyway, and then they won as a result of the score being applied to them also. So with that, you heard my recommendation, and then Ms. Williams, I'll turn it back over to you.
All right. Do we have a motion?
So we already have one.
Well, we have a motion.
Oh, yeah, we've already done it, haven't we? We certainly, we're ahead.
One question.
Any discussion?
Question. Is this the firm we've used in the past years?
That's the firm we have currently.
And that's is that a local firm?
It is locally owned.
What's the price? Is it about the same from last year?
It's up a little bit, but we expected that with any bid because of things that are going on in labor right now. Companies are having to pay their employees a little bit more, incentivize them a little bit more in order to staff us. You know, that's the world we're living in right now. So the cost is a little bit higher, but again, I go back to that financial stability of the company is important to us when we know that we got to have clean facilities in order to have our kids and employees safe.
How many-year contract is this?
Ms. Speakman, do you?
Yes, sir, it's one with options. So the next year would be the same amount, and then options for 3 years after that.
So the contract has just expired. Was that a 3-year contract? Or what?
We had extended that contract,
Okay.
I think, a year ago for this year, and it had no more extension. So that's why we had to rebid the process out.
All right, thank you.
So-
Good.
Any other questions?
I just appreciate you creating something, a rubric around choosing them, and it's not just a, blow ball price and things like that.
Right.
So I really appreciate the work around that and creating that to have somebody that will be successful, not just based off of a price.
And with a proven record with us
Yeah.
too, which is.
Absolutely,
Yep.
absolutely.
Will,
We're giving you compliments back there.
will they have anything to do with our clean air stuff that we're looking into?
I don't, that'll be contracted out some other vendor.
Okay.
They typically are not involved in that aspect of cleaning. It's more the physical cleaning of the buildings.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So,
Well, given you compliments back there.
Absolutely.
Okay.
One other question. When school's not in session, is there any cleaning going on? Is that just during the school year where we have students?
Oh, no, major cleaning goes on during the summer,
Major,
waxing of the
major.
floors and, you know, that kind of thing. Preparing the rooms for the fall
I
is
got
what the cleaning committee does. And it's really a chess act because we've got summer programs going on, summer school, camps. So we have to really schedule that to where they can get in there and get those rooms ready. Yeah, ask any teacher what they're doing right now. They're packing up their room, putting stuff in boxes so that the cleaning crew can get in there and clean their rooms over the summer. So,
Okay, thank you.
All right. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. The ayes have it. Motion's carried.
Mr. Bynum is here. Mr. Bynum, did you want to say anything or?
Yeah, sure.
I'll put you on the spot.
Yes, sir. Again, it's a second term with Arlington, and we really appreciate the opportunity. 5 years ago, my wife and I sat in with Mr. Mayo and Ms. Speakman with very little cleaning experience, and we take it personal here at Arlington, so we really appreciate the opportunity and look forward to continued success with you guys. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, next item.
Okay, the next item is the proposed budget for 2021-22.
Do we have a motion to get that on the floor?
So moved.
Second.
All right, it's been moved by Dr. Viox, and I'm not sure who it was moved by, I think Mr. Lamar. Second, I mean.
Okay, so I'm going to do a quick high-level overview of this budget, mainly because just to kind of review the budget, you all, we started this budget process in January. I actually think you approved the budget calendar in December, but we actually started working on the budget in January. Departments, started working through their departmental budgets. We got principal requests, pulled those together. We got board member requests, any of you that had particular things that you wanted us to look at or include in the budget. Got that information from you. Ms. Roberts and her department developed our draft budget. From there, we had board member one-on-one meetings, and as a result of those meetings, we made some adjustments or some amendments to that draft budget. We had a board work session a week ago where we further discussed the budget, and we've also sent information out to our employees to highlight some of the things that they might be interested in as far as what's being proposed in this budget. So just wanted to say that and then take you through some of these highlights here tonight. So the first area is our general fund revenues, the sources of our revenue. You can see that the bulk of those come from our BEP, which is about 49%. One of the areas that, which is a very, very minor area, it's like 1.5%, it says other, and to have you informed about what revenues might be coming from that area. Those are things such as uncollected taxes from the year before, or some utility taxes that schools get a little bit of portion of that. You can see it's 1.5%. But those are some of the sources of that other revenue that's not specified there. You can see the other areas are 1% tuition, fund balance is 5%, and that's for those capital projects that come out of our fund balance that go into the general budget. Will tax 2%, local option, sales tax 12%, property tax in Arlington 2%, and then the Shelby County property tax is 27%. So overall, you see that's our expected, our generated revenues, $49,705,492. Our expenditures, you can see regular education, instruction, and instruction support. That's personnel, always going to be the bulk of your budget. You can see 6% is broken down through the Office of Principal, Board of Education 2%. Regular capital outlay 4%, transportation 4%, technology 2%, operation of plant 5%, CTE 2%, special education 6%. Those other areas, again, those expenses, that 14% are some of those CIP projects that are in the general fund, one-time costs, one-time expenses that we may pull from the general fund to get started, but then in the end, we may still end up getting some capital money back from Shelby County that will help replace some of those funds. But like I shared with you during our one-on-one meetings, Ms. Roberts has taught me that anything in our CIP plan, be prepared to pay for it. And then if you don't have to pay for it, that's just good news because you've gotten some money back from other sources. So she taught me how to think about that. Next one is nutrition fund revenue. And you can see that transfers in, that green area, 42%, we always have to plan for having money in the cafeteria account. Sometimes, nutrition is self-sufficient. If they sell things, they pay for things to fund their own department. So a lot of times they may get upside down, and so we have to make sure that there's money there to help them level that out. And sometimes it takes you all the way through the school year to get leveled out, but we have to plan accordingly for that. You can see the other areas, USDA lunch, 40%, revenues coming from there, breakfast, commodities, a small percentage there, lunch payment from adults is a very small percentage, a la carte items, 6.5%. A very, very small portion, less than 1%. We get a little bit of state funding. It's like less than $10,000 that districts get for cafeteria funding, and that's what that other means in that area of revenue. Federal and discretionary revenues. You can see these are a lot of the grants, title. You hear Title I. Title II, Title III, Title IV, IDEA preschool, Carl Perkins grants. This doesn't appear to be a lot of money, but as I explained to you at the work session, there's always a lot of work that's attached and a lot of record keeping that's attached to federal funds. Not that we can't use them, we do utilize them, but don't let the money amount take away from the accountability and the auditing and the paperwork that has to go with that. So these are some of the areas that are discretionary. The discretionary is the other, which is coordinated school health and safe schools funds. Those are funds that we can decide how to spend within those guidelines. So that's what it's meant by discretionary for those particular funds. The other ones are pretty much prescribed of what you can use them for. Next area is CARES or ESSER funds. You know that we have already been awarded our ESSER 1.0, which was the original CARES grant money, which was the amount of $861,929. 2.0, we've also been awarded that. That was $2,935,000, $93,408. And then ESSER 3.0, we are expected to receive the $6,592,510. So that application is not due until August, and so we're in the process of completing that now. And then once we have that completed, you all will see that again. You will see the utilization as you did for CARES 1 and CARES 2. You will see what we've proposed or applied for in order to use that money. That money has been awarded to us. We just have to complete the application and tell them how we're going to utilize it within their guidelines. And there are a lot of guidelines. We're having webinars on it every week, and I pick up the phone and call Miss Douglas after those webinars. I say, "You okay, Miss Douglas?" Or is it? She's like, "Oh, I'm fine. I got this." Okay, then I don't need to be worried. So we hang up and we move on. But that's one of the areas that Miss Arnett is going to be assisting us with, and her salary will actually be paid from ESSER 3.0 funds. So a little bit later, I'm going to talk about ESSER and what that can be used for, and not what it's not supposed to be used for. So the next area is some of the highlights, and this is some of the areas that we presented to the employees, letting them know how the school board, how the school district is investing in them. First, everyone's getting a 2% cost of living adjustment, all employees. All employees are also getting a step increase if they're eligible. Eligible means if you are not at the top of your pay scale, if you're already at the top of your pay scale, then you would get the cost of living increase and you would get an additional personal day. And that also is part of our strategic plan, that employees will get an additional personal day when they reach the top of their pay scale. No insurance premium increases this year for medical or dental. And as I pointed out at the work session, that's a huge deal because that's never happened in the district before. And it's never happened, period, but it's unheard of that you actually get a raise and you actually get to feel the raise, and the raise doesn't go to your increasing insurance benefits. So this year, employees hopefully will feel that they're getting a true raise. So we're real excited about that. We also upscaled our nurse salary schedule. We've created a new work calendar for nurses, and we've increased their salaries because we felt that was appropriate, and certainly we've seen the value of our school nurses this year like no other year, and so we felt that was probably an overdue area anyway, but certainly brought it to the forefront this year. We've also increased coaching stipends for recruitment and retention of high-quality coaches. Next area is where the school board is investing in students and staffing. We are refreshing our iPads in grades 1, 5, and 9. We also have hired a new EPSO specialist at Arlington High School. As those programs have increased, it's become necessary to have additional help, assistance in managing those programs. We're also hiring an additional nurse at Arlington High School, additional instructional technology facilitator. That is what Dr. Clark was talking about earlier, that they've actually been interviewing for that position the past 2 days, and now every school will have their own. I think I pointed out at either the work session or at your one-on-one meetings that once we became a one-to-one K through 12 technology district, we didn't really stop and think that we probably needed more support in that area as well. So we are adding an additional person so that each school will have their own technology person on site, instead of that person having to rotate now between 2 elementary schools. We are continuing with cafeteria monitors and actually expanding upon that. We are also funding some additional teacher assistant positions that we added in January. We're continuing to fund those for next year. And it's also important to point out that through the budget proposal, we are funding approximately 50 more positions above the BEP allotment. And we've talked about that before, how sometimes it can be misconstrued that the governor's given a 4% increase, and then some people interpret that as that's a 4% raise, and it doesn't necessarily come out to be a 4% raise, especially in districts where you're funding more positions, because then you got to apply that money across not only your BEP funded positions, but those additional 50 positions. So when that money starts getting spread out, it doesn't end up being an overall 4% increase. So that's important to point out and for employees to understand that. The next area is investing in our campuses. We are looking at a band and theater expansion at Arlington High School. We are also looking at adding canopies at AES and DES, walkway canopies for arrival and dismissal to help protect students and staff from inclement weather. The wrestling, multipurpose complex, and soccer concessions, that project is underway now and will be finished within this budget year. Track resurface at Arlington High School is due. DES room reconfiguration for some added space. We will also be updating, continue to update lighting at DES, AMS, and AHS. That's LED lighting. Student parking lot resurfacing at Arlington High School. We're also looking at an aesthetic improvement of the dumpster area at AES. And we're also looking at air quality improvement at all campuses. So I mentioned ESSER funds earlier, and I think it's important to point out, because I have had questions asked from employees about, can we use this ESSER money to, it's been nice this year, we've had lower class sizes. Can we use that money for, to have lower class sizes? That would mean we'd have more teachers. We could do that, but I've told the employees that have asked that question, we could do that, but since this money is not recurring, then in about 2 years, we'd be laying off a lot of teachers. So that probably wouldn't be a real happy thing to do. Aside from the fact that we wouldn't have space to do that, because that could like double your classroom. If you have 10 kindergarten teachers now and you split that in half to provide 10 more classrooms, then you would need 10 more kindergarten classrooms in order to do that. And so that's really not feasible to do that if it was cost effective. But I say all of that to say these allocations are one-time costs. They're not to be used for ongoing expenses such as personnel. As you saw how large of an amount personnel is of the budget, you certainly wouldn't want to use funds that are going to go away to stand up your personnel budget. So ESSER can be used for long-term investments such as expanding our one-to-one technology, construction of new buildings and spaces for social distancing, the air quality improvements that we mentioned. It can also be used for deferred maintenance cost, air conditioning, roofs, anything like that that's an ongoing cost. You can use ESSER money for that. It can also be used to incentivize and support employees. Employee bonuses. Some of our employees did receive a bonus from the ESSER 2.0 funds, and we do have that built in our application so far for 3.0 when we submit that application prior to August. As I mentioned earlier, it should not be used to fund additional positions or costly annual expenses. You may have a temporary need for something as a result of the current state that we're in that you could use that money for. But if you're looking at something that's long-term, unless you think that you're going to be able to absorb that position in the general budget at the end of when the money runs out, then it's probably not wise to utilize those funds for ongoing personnel costs. And that concludes budget highlights.
All right, is there any discussion, any questions? We've probably discussed this quite a bit. I would say we've kind of beat this up. So I think that's why there's no questions tonight. All right, are those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. All right, the ayes have it, the motion's carried. I would like to thank Ms. Roberts and her staff for always doing such an outstanding job, and Mr. Mayo, thank you for all your hard work on this.
Ms. Roberts.
Hey, I know it. Miss Roberts is something. She's a keeper. So we're going to keep her for sure. But Mr. Mayor, we want to thank you too, because we know how hard you work with her. So be sure and thank your staff for us, please, Ms. Roberts, on doing such an outstanding job on our budget. All right. It is time to adjourn. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
What an announcement.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Lamar has an announcement.
Okay, the Memorial Day service here in Arlington will be held May 31st at the cemetery at 9 o'clock. And then brunch will follow at the Church of Christ following that 1 hour program. The speaker this year is a 95-year-old World War II veteran. He's sharp as a tack at 95. He's writing a book, and the thing that his story is, he was in the Battle of the Bulge in 1944 and 1945. If you've ever seen the pictures of the Battle of the Bulge, it was terrible. It was awful. And it was in snow and cold weather, and he marched from there into Czechoslovakia. And he saw some of the camps that the Germans had put people in, and he's a very humble man. It's hard to get it out of him, and like most people who were in war, he said for years he never talked about it. He didn't want to talk about it, but finally he opened up. So he'll be speaking about 15 or 20 minutes. We have the standard thing. We have music, and we have the Boy Scouts posting the flags, and it's under the oak tree. Bring your chairs. And if it rains or inclement weather, we will have it at the Safe House in the Arlington Elementary School. I've been doing this for several years, since 2000. 20 years I've been doing this, and so it rained twice. It rained around 2006 or 7, and it rained about 2 years ago. So it lasts an hour under the shade tree, and then you can have brunch at the Church of Christ. So thank you for letting me announce this event that the military does in the town of Arlington.
Thank you, Mr. Lamar. I have attended that event, and it is always inspiring, so I do recommend it highly. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Benjamin, and a second by Mr. Lamar. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. This meeting is adjourned.